I love sweets, and I'm worried I won't be able to stop eating them if I let myself.
Oh, don't we all love sweets? And sometimes we love sweets because they taste really good. I'd say that 90% of the time we love sweets when we get too hungry.
Yep.
Runners get too hungry many, many times. So I'd invite you to look at when does sweet tooth strike? And generally it might strike an hour after you've run, when you've been too busy to eat your breakfast or lunch or whatever meal it is. And so that's a likely time. Another time is 3 or 4 in the afternoon, because you've been dieting at breakfast, dieting at lunch, and come afternoon, it's like you're white knuckling it because you're hungry.
Mm-hmm.
And when the body is hungry, it craves sugar. It wants quick energy. And it also wants concentrated calories. So then you get sugar and fat, like cookies. And the problem isn't sugar. The problem isn't sweet cravings. The problem is getting too hungry. So I invite you to experiment. Have a real solid breakfast. And maybe you have eggs and toast and yogurt and some berries. Have a solid lunch, a sandwich with maybe even a bowl of soup on the side. And remember, you don't gain weight at breakfast, you don't lose weight at breakfast. You don't gain weight at lunch, you don't lose weight at lunch. You eat breakfast, you eat lunch. You do that, and in the afternoon, I can bet you won't be craving sweets in an uncontrollable fashion. But people get hungry every 4 hours. So breakfast at 8, lunch at 12, by 4, you're hungry. Mm-hmm. And so if you are hungry and craving a cookie or something, maybe you just reframe that word snack, sweet snack, to a second lunch, and you make an English muffin pizza and have food instead. If you really don't want to have the sweets, or there's nothing wrong with enjoying some fun food. The dietary guidelines say that 10% of your calories can come from refined added sugar. So as a runner, if you need at least 2,400 calories a day, we're looking at least 240 calories of added sugar, which is like 60 grams of added sugar. I mean, that's a lot. And so you don't have to have this perfect diet to have an excellent diet. And a lot of people think, oh, if they have sugar, it just like negates any good stuff that gets into their body. And that's not the case. Mm-hmm. So just do some experimenting with looking at the times of day that you crave sugar. And if you are hungry, too hungry, and I think you'll find that you can calm that cookie monster very, very easily.
And I will attest to this as well, being this was a concern I came to you with. I'd always had a sweet tooth. My family on my mum's side have always been people who enjoyed sweets. And so I know that part is partly genetic, but I also knew that, and I'd mentioned this to you, that I would get to the evening and I would just binge and eat bowls and bowls of ice cream, multiple things in one go. And I remember you saying to me, why do you have to have that for dinner? Why can't you try having that? Who says you have to have that in the evening? And I remember that being such a radical idea, but then also trying what you said of eating more for breakfast and eating more for lunch, and then finding that in the evening, while I still wanted to have some kind of sweet at some point in the afternoon or evening, it wasn't this kind of ravenous, like kind of caged animal that that needed this like big bowl of things, because I had, like you said, collected it during the day, and I wasn't in frantic mode in the evening. So I definitely have tried what you said, and it works.
Yeah, it doesn't work. You worked. And to add to that, there's a really interesting study that was done with some people on weight reduction diets. These weren't runners, but they had 2 groups of people. They both ate the same amount of calories. One had a bigger breakfast and a smaller dinner, and the other group had a smaller breakfast and a bigger dinner. The group that had the bigger breakfast, they had 300 calories of breakfast and then 300 calories of dessert. And over the course of 8 months, they lost 42 pounds and the other group lost 7 pounds. And a lot of that is because of compliance. I mean, you have people on the same amount of calories. Clearly, some people complied and some people didn't. But the group that had breakfast with dessert, what they reported was, come afternoon, someone was bringing around the brownies, but it's like, hey, I've already had my chocolate mousse for the day. One, they weren't as hungry because they had a bigger breakfast, but two, they'd already had their sweet. And I say the body has a carb protein balance. And if you have your chocolate mousse for breakfast, you're probably happier having some grapes in the afternoon or some crackers and cheese or something. But again, experiment, be willing to be curious, experiment, and learn from each day. Like, what went right? What went wrong? What did I learn? What do I want to do differently tomorrow? And you will soon discover that when you have a real high protein, solid breakfast and you have a solid lunch, you won't be craving sweets in the afternoon. Or if you just would enjoy a sweet, some dark chocolate or a cookie or some ice cream, have it in the afternoon. The brain has a memory. If it wants chocolate, it wants chocolate. You can give it a rice cake. It still wants chocolate. You can give it an apple. It still wants chocolate. So why eat around it? Just enjoy it. You're going to eat eventually. So better eat it sooner than later.
Yes, such good advice. Thank you so much.